Hello everyone, so we are getting 3 highly anticipated horror games within like 4 months of each other, and those are Dead Space Remake, Callisto Protocol, and Resident Evil 4 Remake. So, us horror fans are about to be in for a fucking ride in a few months, and even though I'm most hyped for Resident Evil 4, I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about Dead Space and Callisto Protocol, mostly because the two are seemingly so similar. I don't have much info to work with here on either game though, so bear with me. Callisto Protocol is made by the creator of Dead Space, and I believe there are a few people from the original Dead Space team as well. I'm not sure how big the team is, but judging by what we've seen so far, I think we can expect a really high quality game, and to be honest, I think this game has a higher chance of being good than Dead Space. And I'm not saying they can't both be good. They totally can. They probably will be. But I'm much more hesitant to say Dead Space will be as good as I'm hoping. And I'm not saying that to be a negative Nancy. Why am I saying that? Well, my concern comes from Dead Space being developed by Motive Studio, which if you don't know, are the creators of Star Wars Squadrons. If you're not familiar with Star Wars Squadrons, it's a Star Wars flying game. Not my cup of tea, but I heard it was good. I'm just not sure that this company can do Dead Space justice since they have done nothing even remotely close to this. But I'm realizing that that's what EA does. They seem to make companies work on things that just aren't in their comfort zone, and I think that's a little shitty. Just a bit. Because, like, Respawn making Jedi Fallen Order, for example. You cannot convince me that this studio that has done nothing but make FPS games suddenly wanted to make a fucking Star Wars game. Well, maybe if it was Battlefront or something, because that is an FPS, but it was Star Wars Squadrons, the flying game, so. But yeah, I'm not saying Dead Space will be trash or anything. I'm just saying I'm not convinced they can do it justice. But I will say that they seem pretty passionate and confident from all the, like, alpha footage we've seen of the game. Like, they seem to be putting in a lot of attention to detail into this game, and I think that just shows they care. But let me give you an example. So, to my understanding, in the remake, Isaac has 3 different states of breathing and 3 different states of line delivery, depending on what you were doing in the game at that time. Those 3 states are calm, fatigued, and injured, so the dialogue will actually reflect that state that he's in. I don't know if that means all the dialogue in the game will have multiple variations of, like, the same lines necessarily, because, you know, there'll probably be times where it's impossible to be in a fatigued state for story reasons or whatever, but that's the attention to detail that only a developer that cares would include, in my opinion. It actually goes much deeper than that. That's just a brief explanation, but I'll have a link to the video where they explain all of that in the description. It's kind of insane, so definitely check that out. But yeah, Callisto Protocol, on the other hand, seems to have everything it needs to be a worthy Dead Space spiritual successor, and I'm personally more hyped for that than the actual Dead Space remake, but I'm super hyped for both of them. I mean, how can I not be? I'm sure when we play Callisto, it'll have an identity of its own instead of literally just being a Dead Space clone. I mean, it already sounds like they are branching away from Dead Space in some ways. Like, for example, Glenn Schofield, the director for the game and the original Dead Space, he was saying that the game will not tell you where to go, and that there's a lot more reason to explore, like plenty of secrets and paths to find. He didn't go into detail on what these hidden paths will get you or anything, or what, like, there's a reward or anything like that, but it sounds like it'll be deeper than just more ammo or something like that. Because in Dead Space, honestly, there wasn't much exploration outside of the main path. It was mostly just weapon and suit schematics, which get you weapons and suits. Callisto is actually supposedly gonna have plenty of side quests, and Dead Space 3 actually had some side quests, but they were very few and far between from what I remember. So I'm thinking Callisto is going to have a lot more optional content, and I like that. And since the game supposedly doesn't tell you where to go, I'm thinking you'll stumble upon optional paths and missions without even realizing you're on an optional path. And yes, I can see how that can get annoying after a while, like, just tell me where the fuck to go already kind of thing. But I honestly like the sound of that. Another thing that differs from Dead Space is that you can use kinesis on living enemies. And if you don't know what kinesis is, it's basically moving objects with the Force from Star Wars, essentially. And in Dead Space, there was a myriad of reasons to use this. Like, you could pull spikes off of dead enemies and shoot them at living ones. You could do puzzles with them. You could do a lot of things, but what you couldn't do was pick up a living enemy and throw it. Like, you can see here, he throws the enemy into the wall, and at another point he throws an enemy into a spinning fan and he just, like, explodes. And that sounds like really fun and pretty game changing. I'm not sure if it'll work, like, it probably won't work on every enemy type, but even if it's just basic enemies, that's gonna be really fun and really useful. Callisto is also making melee much more of an option than in Dead Space. I mean, melee was fucking useless in Dead Space. Like, it did no damage, and there wasn't really any melee weapons, and even the ones that were there were pretty trash anyway, even if you upgraded them. They have the buzzsaw thing, which doesn't really count, and then they had the, like, underbarrel laser cutter thing in Dead Space 3, but that was pretty much it in terms of melee from what I remember. So in this, there's supposed to be a lot more melee weapons. I mean, you see him using melee quite a bit in the gameplay. Callisto is also not shying away from violence at all. This game looks brutal as fuck, and I love that. But yeah, that's about all the differences between the two I can find with the limited info we have on these games, so that's about it. I want to stress that I'm not pitting these games against each other. Like, you can enjoy both, of course, and they both will probably be good. I just wanted to point out that there are differences between the two, and there will be more, most likely, as we learn more about both the games. It's honestly really strange timing that both of these games are coming out within like a month of each other. Like, think about it. Dead Space was dormant for so many years, and it just so happens to fall right after like the spiritual successor to it comes out. It's kind of weird when you think about it. I'm kind of wondering if these games will compete and like take sales from one another, like if people, or if most people will just buy both like I am. I really don't know, honestly. But yeah, that's about it. RE4 video is probably going to be next. If not, then it'll be because I'm waiting for more info on the game. So because there's not much right now, a lot like these games. So yeah, can't wait for these games. Super hype. See you guys next time. Peace.